The request was small, almost mumbled, lost in the usual morning chaos of backpacks, forgotten permission slips, and the last-minute rush out the door. Mom, can you... can you not kiss me here anymore? Leo, my 8-year-old, shifted his weight from one foot to the other, his gaze fixed on the scuffed toes of his sneakers. The school gate loomed just a few yards away, a noisy hubbub of other children and parents saying their goodbyes. My hand, automatically reaching to smooth his perpetually messy hair, paused mid-air. It was just a kiss, a quick peck on the cheek, a ritual we'd performed every single school morning since he started kindergarten. A silent promise of love and a small boost of confidence before he plunged into the sometimes daunting world of classrooms and playgrounds. "You mean at the gate?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light, casual. Inside, however, a tiny alarm bell had started to ring, a subtle shift in the familiar landscape of our mornings. He nodded, his cheeks flushing a delicate pink. "Yeah. The other kids, they don't do that with their moms." He glanced self-consciously at a group of boys a little older than him who were engaged in a boisterous game of tag near the entrance. My heart gave a little tug, a sensation both familiar and unexpectedly sharp. This was it, wasn't it? The first step on that long, inevitable road of letting go. The slow, steady march towards independence that every parent both anticipates and subtly dreads. For 8 years, that kiss at the gate had been our secret language, a tangible expression of the unbreakable bond between a mother and her son. It was a way for me to hold on to those fleeting moments of childhood, those years when his small hand still instinctively reached for mine, when a hug from mommy could still magically fix any boo-boo. Now, suddenly, that small act of affection had become embarrassing, a marker of his growing need to belong, to fit in with his peers, to shed the remnants of his earlier dependence on me. I forced a smile, trying to mask the sudden pang of something. Sadness? Nostalgia? A strange mix of both, a bittersweet recognition of time marching relentlessly forward. "Okay, buddy," I said, my voice a little huskier than intended. "No more kisses at the gate." As he turned to join his friends, part of me wanted to call him back, to pull him into one last, lingering hug. But I resisted. I knew this was his step to take, his small act of asserting his growing sense of self. And my job, as always, was to love him enough to let him go, even if it felt like a tiny piece of my own heart was walking away with him. I watched him disappear into the throng of children, his backpack bouncing against his small frame. And as I turned to walk back home, the realization hit me with a quiet force. That was the last time. The last time his warm little cheek would press against mine at the school gate. The end of a simple ritual that had quietly punctuated 8 years of our lives. The rest of the day felt subtly different, tinged with a quiet sense of loss. It was strange how such a small thing could carry such a significant emotional weight. It wasn't just about the kiss itself, it was about what it represented, the closing of one chapter and the hesitant beginning of another. I remembered all the other lasts that had crept into our lives unnoticed. The last time he let me pick out his clothes without a teenage eye roll. The last time he believed without question that I had magical healing powers. The last time he would climb into my lap for a bedtime story, his small body curled trustingly against mine. Each of those lasts had been a gentle nudge, a reminder that my little boy was growing, evolving, becoming his own person. And while I celebrated his independence, there was always a bittersweet ache accompanying it, a quiet mourning for the days that were gone. That evening, when Leo came home from school, I tried to act normal, to not make a big deal out of our morning exchange. He seemed completely unfazed, launching into a detailed account of his day with the casual enthusiasm of an 8-year-old. Later, as I tucked him into bed, I hesitated for a moment. Our usual bedtime routine still included a hug and a kiss on the forehead. Would that be next? Would he soon tell me that was also something only little kids did? He looked up at me, his eyes half closed with sleepiness. Without a word, he reached out and wrapped his arms around my neck, pulling me into a warm embrace. He held on a little longer than usual, a small, comforting weight in my arms. When he finally let go, I kissed his forehead, lingering for a fraction of a second longer than I normally would. He just smiled sleepily and snuggled under his covers. That small, spontaneous hug felt like a silent reassurance, a reminder that while some traditions might evolve, the underlying love and connection remained. Maybe the outward expressions of our bond would change, but the bond itself was strong and enduring. But still, as I walked out of his room and into the quiet hallway, the echo of his morning request lingered in my mind. No more kisses at the gate. It was a small step, but a significant one. A clear marker on the path towards his growing independence, and a gentle reminder that my role as his mother was also evolving, shifting from the all-encompassing caregiver of his early years to a more guiding, supportive presence. The next few school mornings were different. My steps felt a little lighter as I approached the gate, my hand no longer automatically reaching for his cheek. I watched him greet his friends with a casual wave, blending seamlessly into the boisterous energy of the schoolyard. He didn't look back, didn't seem to notice the absence of our usual ritual. And in that absence, I found a strange mix of feelings. A pang of sadness, yes, a little whisper of, he doesn't need me anymore, but also a swell of pride. He was navigating his world with confidence, forging his own connections, taking those brave little steps towards independence. That's what I had always wanted for him, hadn't I? To grow into a strong, capable young man. Over the next few weeks, I noticed other small shifts. He started choosing his own clothes with more conviction, occasionally even venturing into cool territory that made my more practical sensibilities twitch. He started solving minor squabbles with his friends on his own, no longer running to me to mediate every disagreement. He started staying at friends' houses for longer periods, his world expanding beyond the familiar walls of our home. Each of these small acts of independence was a bittersweet reminder of time passing. But they were also testaments to the love and security we had built together, the foundation that allowed him to step out into the world with confidence. One afternoon, as we were walking home from school, he suddenly reached for my hand. It had been a while since he had done that so spontaneously. My heart did a little flip. He swung our joined hands back and forth as we walked, chattering about his day. It wasn't the same clingy grip of his toddler years, but a comfortable, companionable touch. A silent acknowledgement that while he might not need a kiss at the school gate anymore, he still valued my presence, my connection. That small gesture was a powerful reminder. Our relationship was changing, evolving, but it wasn't ending. It was simply taking on a new form, adapting to his growing needs and his expanding world. The last kiss at the gate was a poignant moment, a clear demarcation line. But it wasn't the end of our story. It was just the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with a different kind of connection, a different kind of love. A love that knew when to hold on tight, and perhaps more importantly, when to gently let go. And as I walked hand in hand with my almost not so little boy, I realized that while those last times can sting, they also pave the way for new and beautiful firsts. And that, in the messy, bittersweet journey of motherhood, is a truth worth embracing. What last times have you experienced with your children that made you feel a mix of emotions? Share your stories in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, you might also find comfort in our story about the bittersweet feeling of your child not needing you in the same way anymore by clicking the video on your screen now. We're all navigating these changes together.